again. This is Ahmed Helmi. I'm the Engineering and Geoscience Solution Manager for Elsevier in Africa. Thank you very much for attending this webinar on Inspec on Engineering Village. Let me introduce my colleague, TM Harver, our Technical Product Manager for Engineering Village, who will be taking us through a discussion on how Inspec Analytics and Inspec on Engineering Village has been developed into the best platform hosting the database and how we can link between Inspec and EI Compendex. TM, the floor is yours.
Great, thanks, Ahmed. Happy to be here. Again, my name is TM Harver. I'll be going through both Inspec Analytics on EV and kind of a general introduction to EV, which I think everybody on the call and everybody that will watch this is fairly familiar. So we'll kind of breeze through that and get right into the Inspec Analytics overview and value. Again, as Ahmed said, I'm a technical product manager for engineering and Engineering Village and Elsevier. So that's kind of my role. I've been with Elsevier, over 20 years, and been on the Engineering Village product for about the last 7 or 8. Inspec Analytics was brought out, gosh, 1.5 years ago, roughly, maybe 2 years ago, and then it was integrated onto EV about 1 year ago. So we're hoping to give you an overview of kind of the benefits and reasons why you might want to choose Inspec on EV. All right, so that being said, let's jump into the presentation. Again, like I said, I'm going to give a quick introduction of Engineering Village. I'm sure most of you on the call or that are watching this will be familiar with it, but just as a general overview, so you know what our platform does and how we relate with Inspec. So what is Engineering Village? It's a search and discovery platform for engineering and engineering related content. We have a wide variety of different types of content types available to you, either by on the individual database subscription. So for instance, you can get patents, you can get government reports in different databases. And of course, in our flagship databases like Compendex and Inspec, you get a broad selection of engineering discipline content. You also get other advanced searching tools, the ability to save your searches, the ability to, export them. You get access to analytics like Inspec Analytics we'll be going through today, and even some small analytics on Compendex. So that's kind of an overview of EV. A couple screenshots on this page show you how to search and show you kind of an example of our record page. Well, so another good overview of what you get with EV, single point of access to engineering content through Compendex and Inspec, including the back files. So we have content all the way back to the 1800s. I forget the exact dates for Inspec Compendex, but well into the 1800s in the back file. But we don't just cover just strictly engineering content. We have geosciences covered by GeoBase and GeoRef databases. We have chemical engineering and chemistry. Of course, oil and gas and energy and encompass paper and pulp and paper chem, government reports and NTIS, and then patents. A little bit of a typo there, but we cover 3 different patent databases: US, European, and world patents. Some good quotes on this page and some good overview of exactly what Engineering Village is. We have a lot of users that prefer to use Compendex and Inspec together to make sure we have comprehensive coverage of, make sure they're searching all engineering content. We do also offer a deduplication feature in our product. So there is a little bit of overlap of content between Inspec and Compendex, but we offer the ability to, deduplicate those results and find out what what you might have been missing in one database or the other. And we have a nice little quote there from a user that says, how they use that tool. So EV is multidisciplinary, as I mentioned earlier, that, with combination of Inspec and Compendex together, you get, quite a few different engineering discipline coverage. We're heavy with those two together. We'd be very heavy in electrical, mechanical, computer science. This is, I think, more showing what we would get from Compendex, because you would get physics and more coverage in electrical when you add on Inspec. But this is just in general to give you the idea that, what engineering disciplines we cover. And we also cover a lot of content from industries and institution types shown down here. Of course, you should know that EV has very powerful indexing that makes our search tool one of the preferred search tools out there for engineering content. Show a quick example on this page. When you search for something like rechargeable batteries, we have done custom indexing on the back end to help you realize that rechargeable batteries is actually an index term that we've done algorithmically to help you find all the content related to that topic. It's kind of a cool little graphic that you can't see very well, unfortunately, because it's so small, but on the right-hand side is the actual rule that composes how we would look through all the articles and other content that come to us to actually formulate a search for that, that simple rechargeable batteries search you would do there on the left side. So a lot of work goes into making custom indexing to make us, help you search. Real quick on a spotlight on standards. We have a ton of standards we've recently started indexing over the past couple of years. You can see all the major standards organizations are covered here: ASTM, IEEE, ASCE, more. We've been adding more. We will continue to add more standards organizations because this is a growing need for today's engineering researcher. Another spotlight on how we help you find data that's in a little bit more of a complicated pattern. We do chemical and materials indexing. So you can search for chemical terms or material types in EV, and we will, behind the scenes, do the indexing that makes it easier for you to find those. Same thing with a couple of years ago, we introduced what's called numeric search. So a lot of our content comes in with numeric values in it. We will go through and try to parse those out and then make it easier for you to search numerically instead of by text. Might get to an example of that later if we have time. And just lastly, in this presentation, some great quotes from some of our users. A lot of academic users here with how they use EV and how they enjoy it. So that's kind of a whirlwind introduction to EV. Again, I'm hoping most people on the call are actually familiar with the platform, but have at least heard of it or use it, in their current occupation. But what specifically is Inspec Analytics on EV, and what does it do? That's what the rest of this presentation will cover. So first of all, what is Inspec? Inspec's another database that we offer through subscription on EV, primarily focused on physics and electrical engineering, electrical engineering and electronics, computer control. You can see all their subject coverage down here. Engineering Village is one of the few platforms where it can be searched together with Compendex, and we think that makes a powerful offering to be able to search both of these research databases together. All of our databases are updated weekly. We hope in the future to update them even more frequently than that, but today they are updated weekly, so you should be kept up to date, with the latest research from the engineering community in computing and physics. So what can you do with Inspec Analytics on EV? It enables you to answer important questions like listed below. So what subjects are increasing in output in my field of research? What institutions have the most output? What journals publish on my topic? And maybe, who should I collaborate with? What other institutions are doing research out there? Or maybe you just want to get an overview of what your current institution is, who they're collaborating with, or maybe what subjects they're collaborating on today. Maybe you have to prepare some kind of report on that subject. Inspec Analytics can help you with those kinds of questions. Even more, what you can do on EV, you can monitor the research output. So we'll show you, it'll show you your global rank according to Inspec, how you rank in either a specific category or just generally overall how your institution ranks. You can identify emerging trends. It's got some neat little charting tools in it that show you if you're interested in a specific subject, either how that subject is trending globally or within a specific institution. That leads into, you can benchmark yourself against collaborators or even competitors. It's probably more for corporate customers, that question, but for academic customers, you may want to find out how you relate to your collaborators or other institutions. And then again, sticking with the collaboration theme, you can find and monitor other collaboration opportunities. So maybe there's an institution on the list that you're not currently collaborating with, but does a lot of work in a subject area you're interested in. That would Inspec Analytics helps you identify that. So some screenshots of the full Inspec Analytics experience. There's two pieces to Inspec Analytics. There's the standalone product that Inspec Analytics has developed, on their own. You can get to it via URL. And then within AV, there's pretty much kind of a copy of this, but embedded within our app. So you don't have to leave Engineering Village in order to do some of the same analysis. So the screenshot on this page just shows you how it's integrated. You find it under the search menu. You can even do it via direct URL. Once you're in it, it's presented directly in EV. So what's the benefit of doing it that way? You get context-based links from EV, and in a second, we'll see from IA back into EV. So in this case, we're showing kind of an example record page on Engineering Village. And if a user was interested in analyzing, let's say, quantum computing, they could click on the little Inspec Analytics purple link there, and would jump directly into the analysis of that controlled term within Inspec Analytics on EV. So very handy. You don't have to leave our product to go outside and then come back in. You stay within the product. And then vice versa, if you're searching, if you're using Inspec Analytics already on EV and you happen to find, you're interested in the term quantum computing, there's a link within IA that says, well, I want to see all the articles that are available. You click on it, it would run a search in Engineering Village and find all those records. It does restrict it to the same time frame that they use in Inspec Analytics, but you can easily change that in our product using the advanced search filters that we offer. That was a whirlwind tour of Inspec Analytics on Engineering Village. We'll share this presentation with you after the webinar, and it does contain some great links. Their user guide goes into a lot more detail than what I've shown here. Gives you it's meant for the standalone product, but everything in the standalone except for maybe one or two features is available in EV. So the majority of what you'll see in there exactly correlates to what we built on the Engineering Village product. So that's a great resource. You can do that. There's some really good videos. I should mention the user guide itself. Every topic they have in it has embedded videos. So it's a great resource if you want to learn more about Inspec Analytics and all the use cases that it covers. But we've also had some other videos linked in here. And of course, the EV help system also gives you some more context around Inspec Analytics. That's the end of my presentation. Ahmed, what's our next step?
Yes, so we're going to take some questions. We have our colleague Matt that is a little bit delayed in joining. He will be joining in a minute, but until he joins, please, I can actually allow our attendees to talk. If any of you have any questions, please go ahead, unmute yourself, and ask any questions that you have. Until we receive the first question, can you please, TM, elaborate a little bit on the content that covered by Compendix and versus the content that is covered by Inspec, and whether what is exactly the difference that we complete when they interact with each other? I see also our colleague Matt has joined as well.
Hi there. Sorry for the technical difficulties there.
Sure. Matt, we were just discussing the content of Compendix and the content of Inspec. I was just asking what would be the difference between the content on Compendix and the content on Inspec, and what do we normally have when we have them both together? What is the advantages of having them together, or having Inspec and the Inspec Analytics on EV as well?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I've got a slide, and probably the best way to show that is with some live searches, actually. So yeah, I'll go right ahead and share my screen. Just give me one moment.
Sure.
Hopefully that's come through.
Yep, I'm seeing it at least.
You've seen the larger one and not the presenter view.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, we've done a lot of work to bring Compendex and Inspec together on Engineering Village. They're both, you know, as if you're familiar with the databases, both the leaders in indexing of physics and engineering content. But there is differences, yeah, where there's areas where they overlap for sure, but there's big areas where they diverge. Probably the biggest area or difference you'll see in Inspec is that they have quite a large focus on physics, and Compendex is more focused on engineering, particularly mechanical and electrical. So probably just to show actually what that looks like. So this is Inspec. Approximately about 40% is geared towards physics. That's not to say, of course, that Compendex doesn't cover physics as well, but Inspec will have a greater focus on more of the theoretical physics, particularly areas like particle physics and astronomy. They're very strong in those areas. But you know, there is common areas as well within particularly material science for both Compendex and Inspec as well. But then when I say common areas, it's not common content, but you know, it's common subjects. And yeah, you see they're a bit lighter in mechanical than you would find in Compendex, but it's strong, very strong in computers and control and electronics engineering. So let's go to back for my other slide. So what we offer on EV is by searching them both together, you get the most broadest and comprehensive search, so you can simultaneously search both. I'll show this as well on the platform, both Compendex and Inspec. Each database has its own unique thesauri, its taxonomy of control terms, and these are also combined on EV, so you get not just the Compendex taxonomy, but also Inspec. And where the terms will be the same, we deduplicate them, of course, but you'll get both Compendex and Inspec unique terms as well, all together. And again, you know, the best way to demonstrate that is actually, I'll just show it in the product. One unique thing actually we developed a couple of years ago, it's been long-standing in Inspec. They've had numerical search, I think, since the 80s. But we developed it also for Compendex. So again, with our, you know, our position to actually bring these two databases together. So now a numeric search can be performed through both Inspec and Compendex simultaneously. And that can be quite a powerful search to uncover concepts that may not be actually searchable using keywords or a search strategy. And also it enables, you know, uncover perhaps content that you might not have found otherwise. So I've got a good example to show of that as well. And but another feature we have is because these two content databases have been combined together, we have a feature in EV that shows you on an article level, for each article, it will actually suggest related articles. Now that's powered by the unique indexing on both Compendex and Inspec. So when you look at a particular article, it will surface ones which are similar that have been indexed the same. And also, it again, leverages that numeric data as well. So it'll offer you related articles that have the same concepts and possibly the same numerical information in them as well. I'm not sure about your subscriptions, but if you subscribe also to Scopus for both Compendex and Inspec, the Scopus citation counts are available in Engineering Village as well. So get away from the slides and just show you how that works in real life. So if I open up, that's my sign-in error for this webinar, sorry about that. So just do a quick search. So here I've selected both the Compendex and Inspec databases. If I just run a very quick search for something like now, corrosion. And that returns my results. So I can see I've got just under 500,000 within both Compendex and Inspec. And very quickly, there will be some overlapping content, but I can deduplicate them in Engineering Village. So I can say, remove all of the duplicates, and I can give a database preference. So for this example, we'll say my preferred database is Inspec, and then I can just hit, so I've got 490,000. I can run a dedupe on those. And you can see only actually had 34 duplicate records between the two databases. So searching both databases really enhances your result set. They both cover the same subjects, but they both have unique content. So that's a quick way of removing any duplicates I have, but for this search, it wasn't really an issue. There wasn't many that were duplicated. So if I just go back to my original search.
You should mention real quick though that on that remove duplicates map that it only covers up to the first 1,000 records of your search. So that's why there was probably so few. Is the most relevant.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't aware of that actually.
What's that?
Sorry, I wasn't aware. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Tim.
Yeah. It's just up to the first 1,000. It's generally most useful when you restrict like, you know, the last week or last month, and then you'll get probably less than 1,000 records, and then it'll be a pretty handy analysis. But even with this, you know, this is a good example to show you that you would have missed out on 126 Inspec records if you didn't have Inspec for this topic, right?
Oh yeah, on this level, yeah.
Yep, that's the main benefit of it, is to find out that, oh, I would have missed out on those records. And these, you know, since the first 1,000 are sorted by relevance, you know, there's 126 relevant Inspec records in this dedupe that would have been missed without this database.
Thus, it's probably Compendex is stronger in this area.
Yep. Yeah, probably for corrosion for sure. But
yeah.
Sure, if you did something on astronomy or something on physics, it would probably be the other way around. You'd have a different dedupe.
Let's go back to my original search. So another unique thing, of course, as I mentioned, both the taxonomies surfaced in Engineering Village. So I can start off, I might be searching in an area that I'm not that familiar with, and I can look at my results set and I can look at it on a subject level. And this is leveraging both the controlled indexing that's been applied to all the articles from Inspec and Compendex. So I've got the full, both taxonomies here available to limit my results. And it's a good way of looking at the results as well, because as I mentioned, you know, if it's an area you're not that familiar with, you know, I can quickly refine my results. So I've searched for quite a broad concept, corrosion, but you know, I can see that, you know, there's different subtopics. You know, I might be interested in electrochemical corrosion, or how things are protected against corrosion. So it's a good way to kind of learn a new subject area, and very quickly I can limit my results down fast. So we'll just do another, just to reinsert that. Let's do something, show that deduplication again. So if I pick a different subject of amplifiers, it would help if I spelled it correctly. And if I run that again on Inspec, so now we see a bit more of an even mix, not quite, but almost 50-50. So half my results are in Inspec and half are in Compendex. So yeah, so it's a bit of a moving target depending on the subject area, where there'll be certain subjects that Compendex are strong, and others which Inspec is stronger. And similarly, there'll be areas where the content coverage is different. Another thing I'd really like to show is the numeric feature, which works across both, as I mentioned, both the databases. So let's try and think of a good search. So let's do a search that's going to be quite noisy. So I'm just going to search for tunnel. So I'm actually interested in real tunnels, like a railway tunnel or a road tunnel, but straight away my noise, I've got quite a lot of noise in this search, is picking up tunnel diodes in electronics. You know, I'm going to get all kinds of things, tunnel magnetoresistance, and even tunnel vision. A quick way of actually refining results is that we can use the numeric data that's been added to each article on both the databases. So if I want to quickly, so I'll do, oh, back. So if I size. And because all the numeric data has actually been standardized, so no matter how the author's written it originally, it's all standardized down to the units of measurement. So if something was given in kilometers or miles, it'd all be standardized down to the standard unit of meters. But what we do is we flip that around in the natural search interface, so I can actually search using the quantity of my preference. So in the UK, we use miles, so I'm happy to search using that. So I'm going to search for, limit my results for tunnel to anything greater than 10 miles. So I'm looking for super long, perhaps a railway tunnel. So straight away, it's reduced my quite large result set from almost 500,000 right down to 2,500. And what it's done here is it's picking up on the numeric information that the authors added to the papers. So very quickly now, my very noisy result has become very focused, and you can see all of my results are actually about tunnels, tunnel linings, tunnel design, city crossing tunnels through mountains. And I've searched using miles because that's just my personal preference, but the author actually gave the original in kilometers. And probably kilometers is going to be the most common, but I can search in miles if that's the unit I'm most comfortable with. And how that, just very quickly to show how that works, is that what that's hitting off, what that's searching against is our indexing system has picked up this, and it's actually outputted the size in this standardized format. So that's what's actually been searched. It's come from here. Just to show how that can be quite powerful in a different type of search. So that's an example where you can quickly refine and get rid of a lot of noise. If I just do another search, reactor or reactors, again across both databases together. And I'm interested in high temperature reactors, so I can pick the unit of my choice. So this one actually is the default, so I want to search on temperature. And again, I can pick which I'm most comfortable with. I'm most comfortable using Celsius. I search for something I don't know greater than 500. So I'm getting now here reactors which actually operate in high temperature, but so you've got high temperature storage, and so this is all high temperature, but what would be interesting to see is that actually how many of my results actually contain this phrase that you could search for. So what I'm going to do now is I've put this phrase high temperature, because that's probably how you'd have to search for it using keywords. So I've got 32,000. I'm actually going to remove all of the records that have this phrase in. I'm going to exclude those. And I've still got 26,000 left. So I've still got 2/3 of my results. So quite often when the author gives an actual numeric value, they might not use the keyword or buzzword that you would use to search for something relative like heat or colds. What they most often do, well, in this example, 2/3 of the time, they don't actually use words. They give a numeric value instead. So it's content that you would not be able to find just doing a keyword search. And that's something we've implemented for both databases to surface these and search in a different way. The thing I want to show is Inspec actually shared with me their roadmap for 2021. So there's some things they asked me to point out. This year, for the indexing, they focused on the subjects of the new, well, we've still not got 5G fully yet, but they've been looking at 6G telecommunications, AI chips and dark matter. They've added 180 new journals and some technical standards as well, and also ACM confidence expansion. The thing they've got planned for next year is in 2021, they're going to offer enhanced open access content identification. We have that in Compendex currently, but Inspec are going to introduce it as well. When they say enhanced, they've done it. They had it previously just at the journal level, but now they're going to actually indicate at the article level whether or not it's open source, open access. They're going to add more preprints. They currently actually index the archive preprints, and we have that on our roadmap as well. So again, doing things together which match these two databases up. I think TM has already run through the Inspec Analytics, so I won't mention that. And they're going to be adding video as a new document type. So they've got a channel they call the ITTV, and they'll be adding that to the database. Similarly as well, for Compendex, we're also adding multimedia from the main engineering societies. I think hopefully we'll have some SPI videos early next year from the optical society. And they're going to introduce what we have. They're going to introduce grant funding data as well. So again, that's another thing that again will be common for both databases when Inspec introduce that next year. It's currently available, of course, in Compendex. So that was just a very quick run through, and I think I'll pass back to Ahmed, or of course I'd be happy to take any questions or show any more examples.
Perfect. This is very good, guys. Thank you very much for this quick demonstration of how EV is right now the best platform for Inspec, and how linking between Inspec and AI Compendex can give the researcher a complete view of their different subject areas, utilizing the numerical search, the physical property search, and also, of course, Inspec Analytics. TM, do you have any comments that you want to add before before we end? Of course, also please, if you have any questions, you can use the Q&A to post your questions, or you can raise your hand, and we can also allow your audio so that you can ask your question live. TM, do you have any points to add as well?
No, I don't think I have anything further. Just, yeah, again, reach out to us if you have any more questions. Use the resources and the presentation we'll share with you after this if you want more information on Inspec Analytics.
Okay, perfect. And so by the end of this webinar, we're going to be sending the recording to everybody that has registered. Of course, you know that IET has agreed with Sanlik at a highly discounted price for South African universities for a 2-year subscription on for Inspec. And if you'd like to know how much would it cost you to get for your institution Inspec on EV, we can of course share with you as well a quick proposal for that. Other than that, if there's any questions, please post them now. If not, I will release everybody early and send you a copy of that recording so that you can revise it again or share it with any of your colleagues that did not attend. So any questions? Okay, I can see that the 2 presentations were very clear and to the point. I hope that you have enjoyed this very short webinar on hosting Inspec on Engineering Village. And I hope that when you receive the recording of the webinar, that you can share it with your colleagues that did not attend due to the short notice and of course the holiday season. I would like to thank TM, and I would like to thank our colleague Magrava for attending today's webinar and sharing with us the absolute joy of their knowledge on how to use EV and how to use Inspec on EV to give your researchers a complete picture. And I also would like to thank our colleague, John Sturley, the account manager for South Africa, for helping us organize the webinar today. Thank you very much. And if there's nothing anybody wants to add, I think that webinar, we can conclude the webinar now. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.